File your taxes the free and easy way with TurboTax. New to TurboTax? Didn't file last year with TurboTax? No problem. Switch to TurboTax and file for free if you do your own taxes on the TurboTax mobile app by February 18th. All the tax forms you have can be assisted, all 100% free. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax. New filers and filers who didn't use TurboTax last year only. Must start and file your own taxes in the app by February 18th. Excludes TurboTax Live. Full terms at TurboTax.com.
Have you ever spotted McDonald's hot, crispy fries right as they're being scooped into the carton? And time just stands still. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Ask me, ask Iliza anything. It's time to ask. Ask me all your questions. Leave them in the Instagram comment section. Leave them on your Twitter or leave them on your Facebook. We'll see them, we'll read them, then we'll give you answers. You know it, I've got it. I've got the answer, you ask me. I'll tell you anything.
Welcome back to our world.
Whoa.
Step out of your problems and step into the problems of others with an all-new episode of Ask Iliza Anything. Brought to you by secretly eating dates,
No.
but not making a mouth noise.
You always make mouth noises. No.
I know, it's gross. Look, it gets into my bottom of the cob, which we'll get into later. But what?
I feel
I'm
like
starving.
eat a piece of bread that's soft. Why do you always either eat the hardest or the wettest foods?
Listen to this. Listen to how undetectable it is. Ready?
Ugh.
Oh, that was bad. I'm sorry. As it was happening. But I was re-listening to the episode the other day. I think we need to put a cap on people, like where it's like a dialogue with the show.
What do you
Like
mean?
you can't write in more than twice. I feel like if you keep referencing something,
Oh. But
That
you
makes the
want
show feel small.
follow-ups. Okay. You gotta.
I said no more than twice.
So more than 2 follow-ups?
It's an issue and a follow-up. Yes, not unlike Monsters, Inc., where this runs on the screams of children. This runs on the problems of others. I have a child.
You just watched Monsters, Inc. for the first time?
Not the first time, but definitely since like 2001 when it came out. Also, Monster University, great movie. This weekend was great. It was Sierra's 3rd birthday. We had it at a big gymnasium where it's like karate, but also gymnastics. And we got there and the teachers were like, okay, well, let us know when the kids want to play the games. And I was like, no, there's no games. It's just going to be them running around for 2 hours. Please just make sure they don't crack their heads open. And that's what we did. Nobody wants to stop down to sing a song, to run in a circle. Just let them. And we did. And we played Michael Jackson the whole time. And we had fun pastries and mini cupcakes. And every kid got a bag of farmer's market fruit to take home. Little things like dates, Kishu mandarins, carrots, tiny apples.
How tiny were the apples?
Really tiny, like little kid size tiny. And everybody got a mini cupcake.
I want a little bag of tiny treats.
No, you don't. Just because they're small doesn't mean you're going to eat them. Because they're vegetables. But it was great. Super Bowl, whatever. I'm not even going to pretend like I knew the Eagles were in it before Sunday. I know people, oh, the Eagles, how did you not know? Who cares?
Did you say the Eagles?
That's how they say it. That's how they say it. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Ugh.
Don't come at me. I know about Philly. And whatever. Winning or losing a Super Bowl, your profile is still super high. The ads were great. I think minus the one we all think is a hate crime in the making. And the answer is don't click on Kanye's website.
Yeah, everything with his wife, it's all just, who cares?
Just being force-fed drama about couples like Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, whatever that thing. Like just being force-fed this information when there are so many real things happening is the worst part of the internet.
I know so much that I don't know. I mean, I know so much that I don't need to know.
You know what Noah and I did last night?
Hung out with Kanye West.
Last night, we were in bed and we pulled up YouTube. We were like, oh, we're kind of tired, but kind of not. And a la what you would do on a first date, we started showing each other early internet clips that we remember. Like things that are inculcated in your nostalgia. And I was like, do you remember the Numa Numa guy?
Yeah.
And I was just like trying to break down like why that video was so great. A lot of the internet is people who are overweight doing anything.
A lot
Which
of
is
the
what people,
early
like, kinda laugh
internet.
at.
Yeah.
The early internet, and there's an innocence. Like, I'll make this thing that I don't think anyone's watching. And then it's like, nope, we were all watching.
Well, do you remember there was that one little boy and he was small and didn't have any particular leanings, but was obviously a small gay boy. And who was a big Lady Gaga fan, one of her monsters. Now he is super religious. He's like a YouTube content creator who's like very religious. And people are like, aren't you that little Lady Gaga boy?
Aren't you gay?
And he's like, no, yes, but that was demonic and I don't agree with it anymore. And you're like,
You know what?
No, poor little boy.
I'll swing back around 5 years from now when you realize you were gay the whole time and then you can make money off that journey. I don't know. We also watched some guy named Rub Dub who like he was like responsible for installing mufflers that make whistle noises. And then we went to Reddit to see like where's Rub Dub, and it turned out Daniel Tosh tricked out his ride in like 2011. Like you can track these people unless they die.
There's
you know who else
what?
became straight? The find your kids, hide your wife guy.
Oh.
Is like a guy that was deeply emblematic of like closeted black gay culture. Hide your kids, hide your wife is like, I remember it came out as like, I'm, God-fearing. And I'm just like, you were the moment.
I think my most problematic view is that I'm really upset when a man I thought was gay is actually straight. I find that to be a huge betrayal.
Like who? Name names.
No, I can think of someone in real life where I'm like, you're gay, right? You don't know him.
Do it.
You don't know him.
Say his name.
I'm not saying a name, but I'm just saying when you find out somebody is straight, isn't a man, it's kind of like, oh, well, then I don't really like you as much anymore.
You don't like men? I like men.
I don't like when I think they're gay. Like I would let a gay man say ruder things to me than a straight man.
Yeah, one's a hate crime, one's just sassy.
Right, and then it's a straight man, and that's like a problematic view, but I don't care. I stand by it.
I'm going to hot take here.
Yeah.
If someone reads as gay, and I'm not like a grown man can love musicals and be a heterosexual man.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, like if the world is like clocking it, like you're just not talking about it, which is also fine. I don't think if you're gay, you owe it to people.
No.
To be out.
Not at all. That's why it's problematic for me to think that, but I do still think it.
Well, here's what I think. Can you guess what I think?
That we should do a question?
No, is that I hate you? No, yes, it was that we should do a question. Let's do a question. I just got a facial, so I can breathe mostly out of one nostril now.
Is that what they do in a facial? They pick your nose for you?
The ones that I go to are like myofascial, facial, buccal massage, like move your face around. I was just having coffee this morning and all of a sudden my entire nose closed up more than it normally does. And I think it's because I had too much milk.
Yeah, what's going on?
The doctor said it wasn't deviated septum, but it was something similar.
Yeah.
Basically, he's like, I'm looking up your nose and I can see it. Like you have a tiny nostril that is blocked. And I was like, well, I don't really care about fixing it. So let's get started.
Somebody needs
That's me breathing clearly.
Stick something up there while you sleep.
Yeah, that's cool. Way to advocate for violence.
That I'm going to come over in the night and stick something up your nose hole so you breathe right. You're welcome.
I've shown the guard your picture. This woman is not allowed on the premises no matter how many cookies she brings me. You're welcome, by the way. For your birthday cookies.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Ask Iliza Anything talks a lot about relationships. Your relationship with yourself, with society, with friends, bridesmaids. We always talk about red flags, right? The friend that gets too drunk and doesn't care. The boyfriend who says he's not ready to get engaged, but you've been dating for 15 years, stuff like that. What if we focused more on looking for green flags? And if you're not sure what they look like, therapy can help you identify those green flags, actively practicing them in your relationships and embody the green flag energy yourself. Whether you're dating, married, building a friendship, entering a new work environment, or just working on yourself, it's time to form relationships that love you back. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, serving over 5 million people worldwide. And you can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. You can easily switch therapists at any time, no extra cost. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp.
Visit betterhelp.com/Eliza to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Eliza. The truth about success is that it's not about grinding 24/7. I know Motivation Mondays and male podcasts will tell you to be on your grind, but the truth is it really is about strategic self-care. And that's where Aloe Moves comes in. Whether it's a morning meditation, an evening stretch, an afternoon yoga class, a cardio blast, Aloe Moves has everything you need right there to reset and still conquer your day. I'm a fitness enthusiast. I'm also enthusiastic about driving myself crazy, doing 4 more jobs beyond what I talk about on this podcast, touring, being there for my family. And the one thing that I have learned these last few years is that if I don't make the time to get centered, no one will make it for me. So whether you're just starting out or you're super advanced, Aloe Moves has classes from 5 minutes to an hour for whatever you need, because everybody has 5 minutes. It's your complete wellness toolkit in one place. I love throwing on Aloe Moves if I'm in a hotel room. I've even done it in a green room. A quick Pilates class, sometimes even just a meditation or a stretch class is just the thing that I need to get into the zone. Reset your personal wellness routine with Aloe Moves. Go to aloemoves.com now and use code ELIZA for an exclusive 30-day free trial and enjoy 20% off an annual membership. That's aloemoves.com, code ELIZA. aloemoves.com, code ELIZA. It's the start of a new year, and it's always nice to refresh. We have too many things in our lives that are cheap, poorly made, and we just keep buying and rebuying. I am all about buying things that last a long time of quality, and I don't necessarily want to pay the quality price. Let me tell you about Quince. Now, you've heard me talk about their Mongolian cashmere sweaters and their clothes and their jewelry, but did you know that Quince also has essential items for your home? 100% mulberry silk pillowcases, eye masks. They have flatware. They have incredible items made from quality materials, and they're at a low price. I mean, you can get rugs for your house, art for your walls, all at affordable prices. And because Quince partners directly with top factories, they cut out the costs of the middleman and they pass those savings on to you. Upgrade your closet this year without the upgraded price tag. Go to quince.com/Eliza for 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/Eliza to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Eliza.
All right.
Oh my gosh, we haven't talked about. Okay, wait, we do have to talk about
because
those
it's boring.
Well,
Emily.
okay, it's very funny that you wrote a card that called me your coworker.
I had AI write
You had
the card.
AI
There was an
write the
option
card.
on this like local bakery website, and I was like, sure, I'll burn a tree. Let's have AI do it. But here's the thing. It's time to get to the questions.
I like that
It's time to get to them.
You're now hurrying me along.
I am. I'm trying to jam a 1-hour podcast into 55 minutes.
Well, okay. Colonoscopies,
Nope.
alcohol, and boyfriends. Hi, AIA crew. Longtime listener here. Love you all. Eliza, I love the sneak peek of your hot black pants for your new special. You look beyond incredible. The haters are going to hate because they can't pull off pants like that. Are you getting haters, or is this new
my
info
God,
to
yeah.
you?
Tell you what, though, 10.7 and counting million views don't lie. So keep on peeping and hating.
Keep on hating.
Keep on hating.
Here is my question for you and Emily. Is it wrong for me to ask my boyfriend of 5 years to start drinking less? Would that be controlling? He just got his colonoscopy results 3 weeks ago and they found a precancerous polyp in his colon that has since been removed. My BF is a chef, enjoys his booze and red meat, likes to get together with the guys on football Sundays, catch up with friends over beers, etc. He isn't an alcoholic or drunk by any means, but can definitely drink a lot on certain occasions. And then she says, a lot is 10 or more beers in one night. Otherwise, he is super reliable.
That's a lot of beer.
I know.
That's a lot of beer.
Super reliable, responsible, good
Sure.
to me, has his life together. He started exercising a year ago and is starting to be a little more health conscious, which I'm always supportive and enthusiastic about. I keep fit. I'm a lightweight and not the biggest drinker, so my perspective is obviously skewed a little more towards lame and paranoid. I'm also in my mid-30s, so I'm tired and don't enjoy drunken debauchery the way I used to. I think drinking culture, especially in America, has been so normalized that I'm all for the recent reports of the U.S. Surgeon General wanting a warning label on all alcoholic beverages
I don't think
being
that's
a
gonna do
type
it.
1 carcinogen. So
I don't think anybody who's trying to knock a few back is like, oh, look at what could happen in my butthole.
do you think it would be controlling of me to say something? What and how should I say anything? I just want him to be healthy, and also I'm selfishly concerned for myself and my future with him. Thanks so much for all that you do. Noah was so kind and charming when I purchased the Don't Panic Pantry book at the Beacon Theater in New York City last year. I told my own chef all about him, your incredible performance and adorable chant on stage.
Does she have a name?
Not signed, so.
Okay, cool. I don't like, what makes me nervous for you is that you use the word selfish when describing a very normal future you might like to have. And the fact that you think you would be labeled controlling by him or anyone, or would even feel that you were controlling by suggesting someone take it easy. These things bother me on your behalf. You are saying, hey, what you're actually saying is, I'd like to plan a future with you and I want you to be there for it. And you got these results back, and exercise is great, but exercise doesn't mean anything if you don't change diet and alcohol consumption. You cannot outrun liver damage. Nobody is healthy. It's like I'm an alcoholic, but I also run marathons. This is not about him being an alcoholic. You don't have to be an alcoholic to have liver damage.
Yeah.
If you say to this person who is so lovely and so warm and so special that you want to be with them, and you say it from, first of all, get the idea of control out of your head, because that is just something, and I never use this word, but that the patriarchy has set up to make sure women stay quiet. Oh, you don't want to be labeled bossy. Oh, you don't want to be labeled controlling. That's not controlling. These things, there are words that are used to describe, men get called controlling, but men don't get called bossy. There are used that are very flippantly used to describe very normal behavior for women because they don't impede his good time. He needs to blow off steam. He needs to do it responsibly. It's okay to have some drinks. These things are fine. But if you're knocking back 10 beers every Sunday and you're going to say to me like, it's not every Sunday, it's enough that you are flagging it. And although the polyp may not have to do with the alcohol, it does exacerbate it. So if you cannot say to this love of your life, hey, I love you so much and I want to be there for you and I want us to build a future together. So maybe we can think of ways to kind of tamp it down because I'm only thinking of you. If he hears that as anything other than a genuine concern for your future together, that is the bigger issue.
I think that because the cancerous polyp, I don't think it's not, as you said, not a direct correlation. So it sounds like that just encouraged you to think about your partner's health and future. So it's not just alcohol, it's everything. So I wonder if framing it is kind of like, let's talk about our future and health and our goals rather than just you need to stop drinking. Because I think those are two separate conversations.
She's not saying you need to stop drinking, and you don't frame it like, here's what you need to do, but be like, it really scared me. And as we get older, if you're in your mid 30s, these are things that you need to stop thinking about. It's not about wait till you hit 40, but I'm thinking about things that I never thought I had to think about. And they just lowered the age for getting colonoscopies in America to 45. I think it used to be 50. It's always good to always be making sure that you're healthy. Look, you go to the dentist, why not get everything else checked out? Because you never know. Our bodies change and they grow and you're getting older. And these kind of things definitely don't help. There's no upside to drinking a ton of alcohol or consuming tons and tons of red meat. Don't come at me, all you, carnivore diet, primal movement people. So you don't come at it like, you need to change this. You say, hey, and by the way, I know that the look is always the honeymooners, right? The woman is tiny and the guy is gigantic. And I don't know what your husband looks like. And the guy's fat and it's okay because women are less visual. But if you really keep yourself in shape, he should want to look as good as he can for you. You guys should both be contributing to this. So I think you say to him, it scared me because I don't want to picture my life without you. And while you aren't sick and while you do work out, and I love that you do these things, I'm just wondering if there's ways that I could support you or we could try to be a little bit healthier together because I want to marry you and be around. And it's scared. If the fact that you say it scared you should be something that he shows empathy toward versus no, don't worry, I'm fine, which most men are. But if he loves you, he will be receptive to hearing it.
Yeah. I don't want a colonoscopy, but I kind of do because I just want to know what they find in there.
You're like, I just want to take a nap. They're going to find a whole Polly Pocket. You're going to find the VHS of Anaconda. You're going to find Jennifer Love Hewitt's audition tape for Party of Five.
I feel like I had something else to say, but my head's now empty.
Whole Lunchables undigested. Salmon.
Those old
obviously.
those hot dog Lunchables they don't make anymore, I don't think, that used to have chocolate milk.
All your tax forms for moving to the state of Georgia and saving money. Yeah. Nestle Quick Straws, the actual Trix Rabbit. All right.
Okay. All right. Hi, AA crew. This past weekend, I had a little Galentine's get together, and one of the girls texted about 10 minutes before it was supposed to start that she's too busy with new house tasks to attend. They bought a house in December, but she really wants to get together ASAP. I wasn't super surprised since that's typical behavior from her, so I just didn't respond to the text.
Yeah.
This particular friend is my boyfriend's coworker's girlfriend, and the four of us started hanging out a lot last year. I invite/include her on every plan, but she can never give me a yes or no until literally hours before. It's confusing since she's constantly saying she wants to plan something but can never commit when I try. She's actually told me she waits to confirm because she likes to see what else might come up, which is kind of rude in my opinion. I have a feeling Iliza might say she's doing the classic, we should hang out, just to be nice when she actually has no interest or intention to. But
that's not what I was going to say.
But
So you need to listen to the pod more.
her boyfriend has told mine multiple times she really loves hanging out with me and being friends, so who knows? Because of this, I made the decision to stop initiating plans moving forward.
There you go.
Anyway, this is what makes this a good question, Iliza. The following day I saw on Instagram, she had a big Super Bowl party. She never mentioned it. My boyfriend's coworker did invite us, but it still hurts a little. She never said anything when she texts me pretty regularly. I don't think this is the friendship for me, and I'm never going to force something to work. So I was just going to stick with not saying anything and move on. However, my boyfriend says I should respond to the text of her bailing, saying something like, no worries, I understand, blah, 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 so that whenever we inevitably see each other at work parties, get-togethers, etc., it's not awkward. I have zero interest in being fake nice so that things stay comfortable for everyone else. And I honestly just don't want to give it any more energy. What do you guys think? Respond or let it be? By the time this gets answered, it might be too late or weird to respond anyway. LOL.
I have found, of course, you can't respond now because that's weird. I have found oftentimes in the text that I am annoyed at, it is easier to just be like, no worries, have fun. No worries, have fun. And there's a nicer, you could say, no worries, all good. And then an emoji or something. Sometimes the less energy thing actually takes a little bit of energy in the moment to be like, yeah, I don't actually care. Great, goodbye. She didn't invite you to the Super Bowl thing because she wasn't thinking of you. What?
The coworker invited you, though. It's like if her partner already invited
the boyfriend?
The boyfriend invited them.
Well, then hold on.
It doesn't
the
matter.
Boyfriend. No, hold on.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, it could have been like, hey, do we want to invite the person who wrote in? And the boyfriend's like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So she may have thought you were already invited.
Right.
I will tell you as a couple, like, I'm like, are you going to invite Ari and Molly? Great. Then I won't text them. Like, that's an extension of me. So I would not read into that. What I would decide in my mind is that this person, it doesn't sound malintended. She just sounds sloppy.
Yeah.
And you're not sloppy. So what you do is you compartmentalize this person as someone who's really fun to see when we do, but I'm not going to, like you said, go out of my way to make plans because I already know how this is going to end up and it doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah.
You never have to include her again. And I don't want to hear it from your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Your boyfriend knows what she's like. And I know this because we have had a friend couple, and the girl was so flaky. Not a bad, well, kind of turned out to not be great, but not a bad person, not a mean person.
Right.
And everybody like thought it was fun. And I was like, I don't like it. Something's wrong here. I'm not going to get into it. Turns out there was something wrong, but I never thought about this person, including them. I was like, if they come, great. I'm sure they'll be late. That's fine. Once you write it off in your head as I know what this person does, then it's not deliberate. You're not like deliberately excluding her. And if she comes, great. And if not, great. I have people like that in my life that will send me texts. They'll be like, I can't make it, but here's why. And I'm like, great. I'm used to you bailing, but I love when you come and I'm okay with either because none of the plans that you make are contingent upon her. The Galentine's Day is tough because you may have bought specific things. In the future, don't include her in those things. Have a house party. Great. She's invited. She might just be the kind of friend that's good in the hang and just not good with organizing.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. And by the way, she's your boyfriend's coworker's girlfriend. Unless these guys are like founding partners of a law firm, you're not going to know this girl in 5 years. First of all, it's your boyfriend. Who knows how long you'll be together? And let's say you get married tomorrow. That's still his coworker. It's not his boss. Like, these are ephemeral things.
Yeah.
You can enjoy her when you see her and just know other than that, she's kind of like scattered trash.
Ooh, I'm torn on this. I'm wondering what you think. I kind of love that she admitted, this coworker's girlfriend admitted, like, yeah, I'm waiting to see if I get a better offer. Like, obviously that's what everyone does, but you don't say it. You know what I mean?
I guess not, but like, I don't know. I don't know what she does. Maybe she has a finite amount of free time. Like, it does suck when you get locked into something and then someone's like, or do you want to go harvest gold Fabergé eggs and eat caviar and meet the queen? And you're like, I can't. I've got to help Emily move. And she's paying us in Nilla wafers. Like, whatever. That doesn't bother me.
You think I would make you a full banana pudding with vanilla wafers that I just serve them to you dry?
Just powdered pudding.
Just the powder with some Nilla wafers on top.
Use your mouth to make it pudding. Please call the episode "Use Your Mouth to Make It Pudding."
I'm calling the episode that. 100%. I've never heard a better set of words together.
This pod only gets better. It is possible as women to enjoy people on a surface level, and it doesn't go deeper than that. Like, I've had friends like that where you're like, this person's great in person, or maybe they're not. Maybe she's mediocre. But you just know that creating a plan with this person is a bigger headache than it's worth. So just don't.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like you've crossed over into really good friend territory anyway, because you weren't even like, it's my friend. You're like, it's my boyfriend's coworker's girlfriend. So she's around.
Yeah.
People are going to come and go. And this one's definitely going to go.
All right. To hoe or not to hoe? Hi, Iliza and Emily. You've called for new questions recently. I feel like I have one that I haven't heard on the podcast before. Thank you.
Mark this down as that 2-question limit.
Well, you're not going to like this.
Punch that card.
I wrote on the Patreon a few months back about how I had a really shitty move to start a new job, was going to ask how to best protect my boyfriend from my overbig parents. You never got a chance to answer it because he decided not to move with me after I paid for the move in a house. Super shitty, and I was completely blindsided. That was in October. I feel like I'm finally done and ready to move on. I'm going to be honest. We did not have a ton of sex in the end of the relationship, and there's a part of me that wants to regress back to college mode and hook up with anyone with a pulse. However, after being in a 3-year relationship, it feels a lot harder to just have meaningless sex than when I was in my early 20s. I'm 28 now. What are your thoughts on random hookups
you can still do
to
it.
get over an ex versus actually trying to pursue another relationship? Thanks. I've been a fan of the pod since day one and recommend it to anyone that briefly mentions they listen to podcasts. Abby. Wow, we got a name. Abby. She's recommending it.
We got a sexual profile.
Yeah.
You can't force it, Abby. You can't force it. This like Sex in the City, Samantha fantasy where it's like, I'll just fuck the pain away, Peaches. And I'll just have sex and that will numb me and I'll open myself up. That's not how women work.
Right.
The answer is, if you find someone attractive and you would like to put your body against their body, don't hold back. But make sure that you're able to do it. If you're doing it like casually, make sure you're able to do that. Some people aren't. I've had casual sex, but I'm not a casual sex person. And there are definitely relationships where you're like, yep, please don't talk. This is just casual. And then there's the like, well, I hope this turns into something. But this thing where you force yourself to just have sex with tons of people, that's never a good idea. So the answer is do it when you want. And when you don't. And don't force anything. Don't force being celibate. Don't force having sex. Don't force immediately finding a boyfriend. But you can enjoy yourself. At 28, you can still go out, flirt, make out with someone, call them, not call them. Maybe you have sex. Maybe it doesn't work out. You'll find your footing. But do not just force yourself to have sex with people just because they're attractive and you feel like it for like 2 seconds. Like just give it a beat. You can also have casual sex by going out like twice and then you have sex and you're like, I don't know. I mean, this is all about finding someone whose genetics you match up with.
Yeah.
That's why people have sex. That's what you're finding a mate. That's why people who like abstain from sex, it's fucking weird because it's just men being like, I don't want her to know a micro penis is abnormal. So only have sex with me. Because if you do it with anyone else, you're a whore, says the Bible.
Oh.
Don't want you to know how bad this sex is. Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Men always find it attractive when you do what makes you happy. The more you are just out, I don't know, like the more, sure, you are out for self-fulfillment and healing, not at the expense of anyone. You're not hurting anyone. The more you're out for a good time, the more you just I want to go do this and I want to go do that. I'm doing things that satisfy me, even if that is just flirting or talking or whatever. the more men are attracted to you because there's zero desperation detected.
File your taxes the free and easy way with TurboTax. New to TurboTax? Didn't file last year with TurboTax? No problem. Switch to TurboTax and file for free if you do your own taxes on the TurboTax mobile app by February 18th. All the tax forms you have can be assisted, all 100% free. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax. New filers and filers who didn't use TurboTax last year only. Must start and file your own taxes in the app by February 18th. Excludes TurboTax Live. Full terms at TurboTax.com.
I'm Katie Nolan, and I have a new podcast called Casuals. It's a podcast for people who like sports a normal amount. Casuals is a twice-a-week hang with me and my friends from across comedy, sports, and entertainment, where we talk about all the funny, weird, interesting stuff happening in and around the world of sports. So whether you're a diehard fan or just vaguely sports curious, Casuals is the podcast for you. You can find Casuals on the SiriusXM app, Pandora, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Give it a try. What's the worst that could happen?
All right, we have a confession. Hi, all. I finally got the email right. Good. I'm giggling and ashamed at the same time. Call me Anne. Me, 54-year-old single divorced female, consultant with masters. I met an
Of course.
I know.
Of course.
I met an okay-looking guy in college 30 years ago. He liked me more than I did him. I did drunkenly fall in bed with him once. It was college, casual, safe sex. Sisters, the dick was tiny. Think little smoky hot dogs. No relation to Noah. I've had quite a lot of sex in my 20s, so I know small, medium, large.
I mean, can I just say, you can tell that this podcast is God's will because I said that micro penis reference and then Emily had this on deck. So we're aligned.
Yeah, this is what we're using your creativity and my organizational powers for.
On deck. Categorizing small penises.
The entire sexual experience was the worst, and I should have locked the door and never seen him again. We both divorced 30 years later, and he sent me a message via Facebook. After 30 years, we went out drinking and spent tons of times together. He was so much hotter now. It was, quote, toxic. Strung me along. This guy was semi-okay, sort of stupid. Here's the bit of juiciness. This was a year ago. I anonymously sent him a $7.99 penis enlarger via Amazon for Christmas.
Scorched.
I'm still giggling. His number is blocked and I've moved, so I'm not sure he'll find out. Love you all. P.S. I'm sorry. Rock Chalk, I think you went to U of KS freshman year. My son is a freshman there. I'm a K-Stater.
That's fine. That's awesome. And I wish you had set up like a ring cam across the street to see him like look around. It's also funny that you're keeping it anonymous because that is such a specific story that if he or someone he knows, not that he told anyone, is listening, they're going to know it was you. But okay, Anne, that was deliciously juicy. Oh man, you've always hated this guy.
30 years later. 30
His
years
penis
later.
was so small.
You're
it
like
left a tiny hole in your heart.
It's still a problem. Yeah.
Wow. And he had a bad attitude. I thought you'd be like 30 years later. It was awesome. We hung out.
He was hotter, but worse to spend time with.
Oh, I got a micro penis chip on his shoulder. A micro chip on his shoulder.
And then he got this in the mail.
$7.99. What is that? Just like a mouse plunger?
I assume
What do
it's
you
like
get for
you can get at a
$7.99?
gas station. Like probably it's not safe and it could like blow your dick off.
Blow your dick off.
Have you seen, there's an SVU where they use one of those guns that they shoot underwater that like explodes. It's like an air canister and a woman uses it like on some dude's dick.
Jesus.
Oh, I love that show.
Every time you say in an episode of Law and Order or Rizzoli and Isles, I just kind of, one ear closes.
I know.
But that was good.
This was important.
I mean, it is weird how there are these like everyday objects that every once in a while, one of the animals that are humans on this planet just steps out of line and does something violent. Like that woman who at her child's birthday party took helium right from the canister and instantly died. This was like all over like the Daily Mail. So like whatever. But her last words were, "Oh shit." and then she died.
Oh, no.
But like, think of all the times you've inhaled helium from a balloon.
Right.
Like, just to make a funny voice.
Right.
And not that I'm around a ton of like those canisters, but like, you've never heard of someone else being like, I'll get it right from the source.
Well,
And you can't do that. You'll die.
it's like when they do those radio contests and people die from drinking too much water or something, you know, and you're
Yeah,
like,
but that's,
oh.
you've heard of that. It would be like, it's like, and someone put their cell phone in their mouth one day and their head exploded. Like these everyday objects that we're all using normally. And then one day someone's like, hold my beer.
Right.
And then they die.
Well, there's a knife that explodes for underwater use. So
Yeah.
good for getting sexual offenders with.
You just lure them into that lagoon. Lure them with a lure. Alluringly lure them with a lure.
Mhm.
And then explode their penises. Okay.
Is it weird to split an engagement ring? Dear Iliza and Emily, I, 26 female, and my boyfriend, 27 male, want to be engaged by the end of the year. However, he just graduated from school and is at the beginning of his career, so he doesn't make much money. I, on the other hand, do pretty well for myself and am in a better spot financially. I don't have super expensive taste when it comes to rings, and quite honestly, I don't want to drop tens of thousands of dollars on something I could lose so easily, but I know the expense of the ring stresses my boyfriend out. I was thinking, would it be so awful if we split the cost? I want to pick it out with him anyway. While I don't want it to be super expensive, I do want a specific style. We split all other expenses, and honestly, the financial burden won't impact me as much as it would him. So is it such a crazy thought? What do you think? I have a feeling this idea is going to come with a resounding no from him if I bring it up, because I know he wants to pay for it and be traditional, blah, blah, blah. So how would I even broach the subject with him? Mar.
Well, Mar, what matters less is what we think. Because you could buy your own ring and that could be seen as very empowering and progressive. And I don't know your relationship. I don't know what he does. I don't know the type of earning potential this person has. I don't know their job, whatever. The bigger issue is, do you want him going into your marriage already feeling bad? Men do have pride. Everybody has pride, but this is something that has been baked into our institutions and into our understanding of male-female dynamics. That might be hard for him to know that he couldn't afford your ring. I mean, who's going to pay for the wedding also? And I also want to say this will create a slippery slope that you might end up resenting him if he doesn't pull his weight of you paying for everything. And if the rush is to get engaged, then say you're engaged. So then a year later, you're going to plan this wedding. And then it's like, but I'm still working my job. I don't have the time or the money. You need to take into account, I know you want to get married. I know you want to have your life. Maybe you want to have kids. I know you want to get it started. And we hear a lot of women say this. But if this is your partner, 50% of this energy is his. You don't want him going into this feeling bad. So I think it's worth having the conversation simply because you want to get your life started and you're the other half of this. But you really need to be okay with him saying, I am uncomfortable with that. And that is not how I want to start this. I have to work on finishing my sentences. I'm like, the audience will figure the rest of it out. The other side of it is, and I don't think this is him. I'm just saying a lot of times we get people on this podcast that are like, I want to get married and so does he, but he wants to be in a better place. I want to have a baby and so does he, but he wants to be in a better financial situation. These things are fluid. It'd be one thing, like if you knew I'm getting a raise in 6 months, I know that we're getting X, Y, and Z, but people idealize these situations that they're going to be in, not understanding that there kind of is never a great time or bad time or good time. Like you just do it and your life continues. I don't know what job he has, but if this is a thing where it's like, and then once he opens his practice, he'll be able to afford something. I think it's sitting down and having a real come to Jesus, making sure he does want to get married. Because you hear this too, people are like, we want to be engaged by the end of the year. It's like, well, he needs to ask you then by the end of the year, unless you want to ask him. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with the woman being the breadwinner. I am the breadwinner in my family, but my husband does so much. And I can honestly say, I don't think you see that a lot where the woman's the breadwinner and the husband compensates by doing so much stuff. I mean, Noah pays for things. It's not like I'm the only one with a checkbook or a checkbook at all. You just make sure you're getting into the exact relationship you want and you're not rushing it because you feel you need to rush it.
Right. What's this like year? Like we want to be engaged by the end of the year. Why? Because you want a wedding next year. Like, but I actually really liked that. At first I was like, oh, splitting it. That's nice. But I was like, honestly,
Yes.
I think the idea of it's great. If I was a boyfriend, I'd be like, no, I don't want to split it. I want to pay for it. So, and I
Yeah.
get that too.
And it's like, okay, it's weird to me. It's like, we both really want to be engaged by the end of the year. It's like, then he could just do it.
Right. You have control over that. Like it could happen
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Like we're both working toward it. And it's like, okay, how?
Right.
I do think more than anything, the ability to have these very tough conversations in an elegant way is indicative of the type of relationship you want going into a marriage. If you can't even, you didn't say this, but you're like, feel like he won't like it. Should never be afraid to have a conversation.
Yeah.
This is an exploratory phase. You're not married yet. And how he handles that conversation, even if he says no, is something that you should take into consideration when debating a life with this person. There's really no right or wrong answer. There's only a wrong reaction.
Right. Our question asker sounds very reasonable and just pragmatic. And if she approaches
It's not
the
gonna make him
boyfriend with
feel
that,
good.
no, but if he sees where she's coming from, I'm sure they can work it out.
For sure. I'm saying it's probably not going to make him feel good knowing going into this, like he couldn't even afford your ring. And then it will slowly be like, I'll just pay for it. I'll pay for it. I think these things tend to chip away at a guy. There are some scummy guys who are like, yeah, pay for it. I fucking love it. But like, if he's a good guy, I could see how he's like, no, I've got some pride about this and I'd like to take care of you. And my career just isn't going as fast as yours, but you don't want him to have a little chip. You don't want to go into it with a chip. You want to show up as two fully formed teapots to this wedding.
Yes.
Sorry, the cup. The cup had the chip. Beauty and the Beast.
Okay. We have a answer for a question you had. Catching cold from oral.
Oh, yeah.
Please just call me Pass if you read this.
Pause or pass?
PAS?
Pass.
Pass?
Pass.
P. Hi, Liza, Emily, and crew. I was listening to your podcast when, for Bottom of the Cob, someone asked if you could catch a cold from oral. Someone. The cold isn't something you can catch down there, but if the person has, by the way, I haven't checked this person's medical credentials. They could be lying, but I'm reading this as though it's
No,
fact.
they already said it already feels legit.
Yeah. If the person has strep or another bacterial infection, it can get into your Bartholin's glands. In case you didn't know, those glands are what's responsible for keeping things slippery down there. And getting one, or God forbid, both infected is super painful. How do I know? One of my exes gave me strep down there, and one of my glands swelled up to the size of an egg. Not a cute little quail egg, but a decent sized chicken egg. Ugh.
Nobody is picturing a quail egg when someone says egg. They're like, oh, you mean like quail egg?
I couldn't sit properly and had to go to the hospital. The treatment is to lancet to release the pressure and take a course
Oy.
of oral antibiotics. Now, since the gland is still functional, they have to put a small catheter inside it. And it stays there for 4 weeks. So for 4 whole weeks, it looked like I had a tiny 2-inch long yellow penis coming out of me while it was healing. Obviously, no contact down there while the catheter is in, but my ex sure had a good laugh about the tiny yellow penis. So although you or your hoo-ha didn't catch a cold per se, it can be much worse. Keep up the good work, guys. And Iliza, don't worry about possibly offending some sensitive listeners. Your diehard fans get you and won't let you get canceled. I'd like to see them try. Ha 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 ha. Thanks, Boss from Canada.
I love that. Oh, a Canadian not boycotting us. Good, Poss. When I say egg, we all think Cornish game hen, right?
That's like a confession.
You know, a hummingbird egg. That is this. I feel like the second I asked that, this person was like, I got this one.
Please let me share.
Wow,
Watch out.
That is, you don't want to get strep in your Bartholomew.
No.
Wow. Okay, good to know that you can't get a cold. You could get something worse.
I know. That's horrible. And we don't know if they're a doctor, but sounds good.
That's not a doctor. No, it's better than a doctor. It's a female patient.
Right.
Because we've been through, I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you all about getting your uterus flushed. I can tell you all about.
Flushed? What's in there?
You got to flush it out with water so they can see if everything's okay. Oh, yeah. Once you're a woman that's gone through anything medical, you are an expert, especially if you're a Jewish woman.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what you do. Here's what you can't. Here's what you can. Oh, man. Now I want people to write in now the question is, what other horrors lurk when someone with a cold has sex with you or goes down on you? What if they go down on your butt? What happened? What could go in there? Please write in, us or someone.
Has anyone had something weird happen to your butt? Write in.
Have you or someone you know had something weird happen to your butt? Provexa may help.
Are there still commercials, and I'm just not watching daytime TV, for vaginal mesh? I was so scared of it as a child. I was constantly like, has your vaginal mesh torn? Your mesh is bad. Call the cops and join us in rising up against the bad mesh. And I'm like, what?
It was the wrong voiceover actor. Has your clam sustained injury? You may be due for a vaginal mesh. I think that's like if you had like gnarly childbirth.
Yeah,
it's
I
all
think
just
mesh
falling
holds
out.
up everything. But there were just so many commercials for botched meshes that I was like, oh, how often does this happen?
I think it happens a lot. I think women are walking around with their south mouth falling out, inflamed, and people are just like, oh, well, as long as we still have football.
Well, and those were the commercials I was getting watching like a 4 p.m. episode of Charmed. You know what I mean? So they're like,
that's what you
your
get.
vaginal mesh is there and it is failing you.
They're like, we know you're at home because you're watching TV at 4 o'clock. You know which one I always remember? Cortisol causes belly fat. Relicore helps eliminate belly fat. You need Relicore. Stress causes cortisol. Cortisol causes belly fat. Relicore eliminates belly fat. You need Relicore. And they would just say it like 6 times in a row. And I'm like,
well,
yeah.
That was like a trend for a while. They're like, head on, apply directly to the forehead, head on. And you're like, okay, I get the gag. Like, stop.
Because if you're 1,000 and you're hearing that, you're like, what did they say? Wait, what do I do? They're like,
to my
on
forehead?
the forehead.
No way. Do you think that worked? It was just like a thing that you put on there. No.
Maybe. I don't know. People use balms for all kind of stuff.
Balms. Not
You know,
bombs.
head on for your elbow. Balm.
Balm.
All
right, we should do cobs because you got places to be.
Taste the top with a cob. We're doing it right every day. You just take a bite, top of the cob.
We'll start with bottom.
I like a tight schedule. I like to have time to just be and exist. I don't like if like it's a meeting at 1 and then another at 5. Like I like to pack things in like 11, 11:30, 1 o'clock. I had an appointment scheduled, and even though I love this person is always a little late. And when an appointment is at 1 o'clock, but they don't get started till 1:20, it like shifts back everything else. And all of a sudden, now I'm just in a rush the rest of the day. So it's my fault for stacking it, but I'm sorry, I don't need 30 minutes of downtime in between shit. Although I think I need to start putting in some padding.
For a long time, I'm sure kids have changed that. But when you and I worked together, I was always like, this isn't enough time. And it always went like you stacked everything and it always went according to plan. And I'd be like, no, we need time built in. You're like, no, and you never did. So it worked for you for a long time.
As long as people are on time. But now it's like at the end of the day, so everything gets smushed. When you have all day, it's like, okay, 9, I've gotten 11. But this was noon. It was 90 minutes, then the pod. And then now everything's been pushed back. So now I have to pod for a few minutes less to make a call at 3, to get ready, to have dinner, to go to my sets.
Are you having fun dinner?
This is dinner with Sierra, so it's always fun negotiating with a child to take 3 more big bites. What is your bottom?
My bottom is in the last month, I've found a solid 10 gray hairs on my head. It used to be I'd get
Thank you for clarifying on your head.
on my head. I used to be I'd get like 1 every few months. Be like, I guess I was stressed. Now I'm like, oh, I guess this is just like a thing now. At 34,
oof,
things are going downhill. But maybe I'll be full whitehead soon.
Well, quit tracking the DVD release of One Tree Hill and you won't get so stressed. Or watch Pot Never Boils.
I'm so stressed.
What's the fan bottom?
Fan bottom. When people discover my 10 and 11-year-old kids haven't seen Star Wars or other beloved nostalgic films and take it as a personal attack or act like it's an indictment on my parenting. That's a good one.
Don't let them. I haven't seen Star Wars. Who fucking cares?
But people get so like offended about that kind of thing. Like, you haven't seen it?
Whatever. Like, okay, I'm still here paying my taxes and you're still talking to me, so obviously I'm good enough. Like, whatever. People just like to go hard on the one thing that they cling to that's important to them. Who cares?
Yeah.
Well, I'm okay. I'm sorry. I don't get I know what a Starship Trooper.
Yeah, that's a
what are
great
the white
movie.
ones?
Wait.
What are the white ones?
Oh.
The Army.
Stormtroopers. Starship
Yeah,
Troopers.
I know what a Stormtrooper is. I know what a Wookiee is.
You don't know what a Stormtrooper is. You call them a Starship Trooper.
Yeah, I do. I made a mistake, but I know that they're in white. I know what a Wookiee is. I know who Han Solo is. And that's it. That's it. We're good.
Do you know that little baby Yoda has its own name?
Yeah, it's Baby Yoda.
No. It's like if I called every human a baby Iliza, every baby human.
It's whatever. It's a multi-billion-dollar dork fantasy franchise. People love it. I don't have a spot for it, so I don't need to honor it. Plenty of things that I love, though. It's enough. Weaponizing nostalgia. I'm good.
Yeah, you agree with this bottom.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Your top should be, I agree. Top of the cob.
Okay. My top of the cob is I installed a new kind of frame, poster frame that snaps open. So I drilled it into the wall so I can snap it open. So I only put cheaper posters in there, not my
like a movie
autographed
theater
ones. But exactly.
Like it hinges open. Yeah.
I can open it. So let's say I had a friend or you were coming over and it's like, oh, we're going to watch.
Let's say you had a friend.
Let's say I had a friend and we're going to watch like rom-coms. I could put a rom-com poster up there. Wouldn't that be fun? So
Love that.
we'll see if anyone ever comes to my home.
When they do, now playing.
Now, exactly. And now the fan top is about you, but I'm reading it anyway. Sometimes I try to not do all the ones that are just about you in this podcast, but I knew you'd appreciate this one. Hey, gang, humans big and small, hot Scotty, hit it. And sweet fur babies. Becky from upstate New York. I think the only state where it's acceptable to say upstate. My top of the cob is watching Iliza's new season of Iliza's Locals and the Amazing Talent. Starting off with Hunter was a strong choice. And seeing Iliza's short hair, I assume short hair. Do you have shorter hair?
In the first season, yeah.
Oh, in the first. Such a good look. You can pull off any look, but seeing the short hair just made my heart happy, as did seeing all the people you know are super talented. Cannot wait until the new special. So this is a perfect time to plug.
Thank you. And that was actually my top of the cob. Season 2 of Iliza's Locals. We shot it last week. It went off without a hitch. We had 15 incredible comics. These are all fully formed comedic points of view. Everybody was great. Some people really stood out, but everybody was good. And I directed it. So I got to the look of the club. We shot it at Los Candiles. It's a queer sort of night Latin club in Glassell Park. We basically redecorated their whole club. And we made it look incredible. They have a really cool glowing light up dance floor. And it was just colorful, distinctly LA. And I am excited to go through that footage. And I'm just proud of that. And it's gonna be awesome when it comes out. And I'm not gonna tell you when, because I have to deliver it first. We gotta edit it.
But you can also say your special has a date. Have we said it on this podcast?
Yes! My special, A Different Animal. Because I think my comedy is different than others, and I'm a different animal now than I was before, and the comedy's a different animal. It's a whole, when you're watching me, it's a different animal.
Definitely good when you have to explain it.
I know, just like, because people are going to ask. People are going to ask, and it's a multi-pronged meaning.
Save it
and
for
comes
the
out
press.
March 11th. March 11th on Amazon. You want to head over to my Instagram and watch a tiny clip. That's probably at 10.8 million views today. And chime in on those pants, because I really value your opinion as much as your passive viewing. But we're very excited.
All your specials are pants first. You're like, I have the pants now. What am I going to do jokes about?
It just became that way. And I'll tell you what, I went over to that Amazon Prime comedy Instagram page. Nothing even comes close to the amount of views that this one clip got.
All right, don't bully their other.
Write that check. Folks, we've got some exciting news coming up about the podcast, so stay tuned. Perhaps it's next week's episode or the next one. It's coming up soon. Doesn't really change. It will change. It's going to change the podcast, and then we're going to bring you a better product. We're always thinking of ways to innovate and do this better for you. Whatever.
I don't want to innovate. I'm tired.
I want to stay the same.
I
Stay out of my butt. Find Amelia Earhart in there. Stay out of my butt.
File your taxes the free and easy way with TurboTax. New to TurboTax? Didn't file last year with TurboTax? No problem. Switch to TurboTax and file for free if you do your own taxes on the TurboTax mobile app by February 18th. All the tax forms you have can be assisted, all 100% free. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax. New filers and filers who didn't use TurboTax last year only must start and file your own taxes in the app by February 18th. Excludes TurboTax Live. Full terms at TurboTax.com.
I'm Katie Nolan, and I have a new podcast called Casuals. It's a podcast for people who like sports a normal amount. Casuals is a twice-a-week hang with me and my friends from across comedy, sports, and entertainment, where we talk about all the funny, weird, interesting stuff happening in and around the world of sports. So whether you're a diehard fan or just vaguely sports curious, Casuals is the podcast for you. You can find Casuals on the SiriusXM app, Pandora, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Give it a try. What's the worst that could happen?